protect your chains, and make sure your Broncos coverage isn't...
Hello, listeners. We welcome you back to the In-COM-PLETE podcast, where Coast to Coast hosts produce news, coverage, and opinions of all things Denver Broncos, plus anything else that's on our minds. I am Ty, and I'm my wonderful co-host and best friend, Kelly. Kelly, I have a joke for you. The Broncos' offense and special teams on Thursday against the Raiders made me so sick that I literally got sick.
It was the football team, not the elementary kids you're around all day.
No, it was. I think it was prolonged, but I think it was the football team that made me sick. And the only way that I'm going to get any better is if we stomp the Chiefs.
Go Broncos!
Go Broncos!
I think we'd all feel better in Broncos country if we came out and stomped the Chiefs.
Absolutely. It doesn't seem like a lot of people have hope, but time will tell. But before I do get any further, as you all can tell, we do have a very special guest this week. She writes for Mile High Sports. I am so sorry. Is a former podcaster and has been on this podcast more times than I can count. Sorry, the sickness in the brain is bothering me. Incomplete listeners, we welcome Lindsay Bebout back to the podcast.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome back.
I am happy to be here.
Yes. So, I'm going to start off with this. The recap is going to be really difficult to even get through. So, let's just do a little roundtable on what we thought of this game, because granted, it was a week ago. So, it tended to escape our minds a little bit because we had a lot of time to fester about it. So I don't even know if I can. I mean, I guess we just start with the bad because it was a win, but it didn't really feel much like a win.
No, I mean, look, win's a win. It doesn't matter if we beat, I don't remember what the Cowboys score was. What was it, like 20? Kelly, do you remember the exact
44 to 24.
Oh, geez. Yeah. 44 to 24 or 10-7, a win that counts exactly the same. So happy that we got the win. It was one of those things where I feel like we've been conditioned to go, okay, it's fine. We're going to start off slow, but don't worry, we're going to pull it out. And I was getting to the point where I was like, Are we really going to lose to the Raiders?
At home? I was watching and, of course, well, we're a second half team. It's okay. We're a second half team. Then the second half starts. Well, really, we're a fourth quarter team. It's okay. And then the fourth quarter starts and it's like, well, we're the last 4 minutes of the game team. And there's a comment was made, the more you push that back, the more it sounds like copium.
Right.
Yes.
So, yes. Well, part of me was like, okay, it's, they'll hit their stride, they'll go. It never came.
Yeah. And especially
we still won.
We did.
But the ship never really righted.
Right. And especially because the Raiders came out pretty hot with got to touch it. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it was their first drive of the game. And I'm sitting like I started the Broncos defense in every fantasy league that I possibly could, thinking like this is a grand slam. And then that happened. And I went, wait a minute. This wasn't supposed to happen.
So, the Broncos offense has the same problems that it's had. I've started this week on Twitter calling it the chicken and the egg. we're mad at Sean Payton's play calling. Is that why Bo Nix is bad, or is Bo Nix bad and that's why Sean Payton calls what he plays? Now, in watching the all 22, I did see some mirrored plays that came up, and both receivers were open and both didn't seem to see them.
Yeah.
It's possible it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Bo is struggling with some things, and Sean Payton is trying to like cover it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. And Sean Payton never gives a straight answer, and Bo Nix, just says the right thing.
Right. I'm looking at a game recap right now because for me, I'm trying to see, because by the end of the game, J.K. Dobbins had 18 rushing attempts, which I don't know off the top of my head, I have to believe is one of his highest of the season. Looking in the first half, so he had 3 on the first drive. And then after that first drive, none on the second. Okay, closed out the first quarter. Then looking at the second quarter, he had Nope. He had 1 in the second quarter. So he had 3 rushing attempts in the first quarter, 1 rushing attempt in the second quarter. I don't care if Bo Nix is missing every single receiver, overthrowing everything, throwing an interception on every pass. I cannot blame him for that. That is atrocious. J.K. Dobbins at the start of the game was averaging over 5 yards a carry. Top 10 amongst the league in both rushing yards and yards per carry. To me, there's absolutely no excuse for that. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't understand why Sean Payton abandons the run game. That's something else. I know we're the Broncos, but I feel like these points we beat like a dead horse. Like, I don't understand why Sean Payton just decides not to run the ball, or to run the ball some weird college trick play type of way. Just run the ball. No, they weren't stopping JK. I don't understand. I mean, you run the ball till they can stop it. Like that's the golden rule of football.
But it's just kind of like what you talked about, where we're kind of doing this rinse and repeat. Like I said, so I just counted. He rushed 7 times in the third quarter, and then he had 6 times in the fourth quarter. And it's like, okay, so you at some point start understanding that it's working. Why are we not taking the lesson from each previous week and going, why don't we start that at the beginning? Because by the end of the game, we always learn that it's effective. So I don't understand where it's almost like by the time we play another game, it's as if we've forgotten.
Yeah, I don't, the rumors that fly around is Sean Payton is very arrogant and thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. And I don't know that.
I think Russell Wilson probably would say that.
But it seems that way. And one of the things that supposedly he really, really liked about Bo Nix was smart and cerebral. And I'm kind of starting to believe that they both just get in their head and they overthink it. Run the ball.
Like that play, oh my gosh. The clip on the blind side.
Yeah, run the ball. I don't understand the screen passes. They don't work. And I don't know. It's almost like he's just being stubborn, like he's going to run him until it works. It's just not. So, I really don't know. I really don't know. But, the criticism on the offense is there. It's well deserved at this point because it's the same story week in and week out.
And with those screenplays, wasn't there one where this might actually been last week too, but it was like a 3rd and 1, and we had J.K. Dobbins, and yet we ran a screen and went back 5 yards.
Probably.
Mm-hmm. Or we read this against the Raiders. He ran that weird snap to Bo fake, but then Bo didn't follow the blocker run type thing.
Like a wildcat kind of thing.
Yes, wildcat. I don't know. It's just, and again, it's. Someone did send in a comment about, Nix did have something wrong with his back last season.
Mm-hmm.
So it is possible it hurts.
Hurts having to carry that whole offense.
It's having to carry that whole offense. But it's possible it's screwed up his throwing motion. It's possible he thinks he's throwing weaker and hence the overthrows. So I also heard on another podcast someone bring up something very, that I think a lot of people are forgetting. There were 19 per mile hour winds.
Mm.
And so, it's not like Gino was out there throwing tight spirals either. The kickers couldn't make field goals.
It's true.
I mean, it was a bad weather game too. So, I kept saying over and over again, it's been a tiring schedule for the Broncos.
Absolutely.
So, Kelly, I'm curious. Well, because for me, if it's something that's related to an injury, it doesn't matter if you play the worst team in the league. Obviously, if you're injured, you're injured. So if it is an injury, then why was he able to play so well against, I guess for one quarter against the Giants? And then, we saw what we saw against the Cowboys. I'd say even the Eagles, we saw a lot of really shiny moments in that game as well. So that's what's so confusing about it.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, you could twist the wrong way and then it hurts more one night. It was cold, that could hurt more. But I meant more it was brought up more in like what seems to be, what looks like, what appears to be a reluctance to run on Bo's part when it's open to run and he pulls up. And the couple times he's gotten flagged for throwing over the line of scrimmage, like he's, if he's worried about that back. I don't, again, they don't come out and say they, you hear the same, you hear the media talk.
Right.
I'll have to do better. We'll look at the film. We'll clean it up. We had a good week of practice, so, now, so it's pure speculation. But I figured I'd throw it out there because again, it's otherwise it's the same conversation.
Yeah.
Special teams makes bad errors, and then our defense just is lights out, rock 'em, sock 'em, done. There's we just have to cross our fingers and hope and pray they don't get tired.
One thing I kind of want to talk about in a little bit of a sense is the offensive players. Like I've heard throughout the past few weeks, actually, it was more these past few days, that they don't think there's like anything wrong that's happening. And yet defensive guys, I think some media have asked them, like, are you frustrated with how the offense is going? And like everything falls on your back. And they don't make it obvious, but you can kind of sense that the defense is kind of getting tired of what the offense is putting out on the field every so often. And the fact that some of the offensive players can't even see like, oh, something's wrong here. Or Sean Payton is like, oh, like we'll fix it. Why are we not fixing it? Why are we not putting in the effort every single week of every single week of the season?
I mean, I personally haven't heard that. I mean, I saw the interview of J.K. Dobbins who said, as an offense, we're frustrated. We know we're letting the defensive side down. And then they asked a defensive guy and he said, You know what? We're not worried about this side of the ball. You know what I'm worried about? I'm worried about how many third downs we gave up.
Mm-hmm.
So I have not seen the defense hint around publicly. Now, behind closed doors, I don't know what's being said, but publicly and everything I hear, the defense always points a finger back and go, no, we're worried about us. And then I did hear, I think it was Bonito say, it doesn't matter what the offense do. We got them.
Mm-hmm.
So I've not heard where the defense is starting to get like, hey, we need, which the 2016 defense did finally come out and say, we need Trevor to start scoring some damn points. We're holding people to 10, 13 points, and we're still not winning these damn games.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not heard this defense say that. This defense so far seems to, toe the company line of we're worried about what we're doing. We're a team. If they don't got it, we got it. And our offense has come out and said, we're frustrated. We know.
Maybe that's the part of it I was listening to. Maybe that's what I was thinking about.
My part of because Garrett Bowles came straight out and said, we're frustrated as an offense. We don't know why we can't score points.
Well,
so to me, then that falls on coaching.
Right. The thing is, though, about this, we can't score points. We've only of our 10 wins, only 3 of them we've scored under 20 points. Like, I feel like and when I say we, I just mean like honestly the entire United States of America, because I think it's going on. It's like there's a bad game or two, and suddenly the Broncos are terrible. I mean, week 1 we scored 20 against the Colts. We scored 28. Against the Chargers 20, the Bengals 28, Philly 21, the Jets 13. We'll put that in a eek. The Giants 33, the Cowboys 44, Houston 18. Houston has arguably the best defense in the league. And then 10 against the Raiders. Like I do feel, I'm not saying the Broncos are exactly where they need to be. I am not saying that there are not flaws, but I think this narrative has taken a life on its own because these 2 of these horrible games
the interview where Garrett Bowles says we can't score points was the one right after the Raider game where they did not score points. He maybe was not talking of the whole season. He may have been like, no, we were fresh. I mean, he probably meant we are frustrated. We did not score any points tonight. But, they stick these microphones in their face when they're half clothed and trying to go take a shower.
Right. But, no, for sure. But I just feel like the narrative become the Broncos can't score points. And when you look at their scores, like that's not true.
No, we do score points. And to me, it doesn't matter when we score them. Yes, I'm very frustrated the first 3 quarters going, oh my goodness, what? Run the ball, do something. It's that meme with the person with the stick. Like just do something, anything, do something. So, and again, I am the biggest, I believe in developing a quarterback. It is the one thing as a Denver Bronco fan, I really wish I'd seen the Denver Broncos do more is draft a quarterback and develop a quarterback for the league. I didn't really see it with John Elway, though I started watching in 83. I didn't really see a development, just my 8-year-old eyes thought Elway could always play football. And then there was really nothing after that because then our next big quarterback was Plummer, who had already played. And then, we ran through some more and Cutler kind of showed up. But then he got run out of town and then, we went through some more and we didn't really develop Tebow. And, I don't know that we could have. I don't know that he could have developed into anything better. And then Manning came in and, Manning was Manning. And now we've gone round and round the carousel with all sorts of things. So I so badly, I so badly wanted it for Drew. I so badly, wanted Drew Lock to be the guy that would develop in Denver and be him. And, Bo actually looks the most promising and I want it. I want Bo to stay in Denver for the next 10, 12, 14 years. And this is his sophomore slump. And when you listen to veterans say, they go, the second year is the hardest because the league has adjusted. And it's really the third year when the new quarterback finally gets to kind of adjust to the adjustments made, that you really get to see them bloom. And I really want Denver to not run them out of town or bench them after year 2, no matter how this season ends. I mean, right now we're sitting atop the AFC West. Right now, if the playoffs are today, we're the number 2 seed in the AFC. And for the last 10 years, and our 5-12 seasons, our 7-9 seasons, if you our 8-9 seasons, if you had asked us this, we would have done anything to be number 2 in the AFC. So who cares how ugly it is? I don't care how ugly it is, but there is frustration when you're staring at it and you're like, why? What are you doing? It's just, and fan is short for fanatic. And I think that, it's the fanatic in us to want to go, the consistency. Our offense somewhere needs to find some consistency. And we're very impatient for it. As a fan base, myself, I'm impatient for it because I just want it to be so badly. And I feel like, 10 years of growing pains is enough, but we need to fast track so that we're done. So, it's just, I think that's where it sits. And then you get the talking heads start talking, and, Cowherd is dropping hints that Sean Payton's impatient with them. And with that is the fear of, oh my goodness, are you really going to start the quarterback over again?
Grave mistake. That's all I'll say. It'll be a grave mistake. I'll honestly, back to your point with Cutler, like I'll give Cutler I wouldn't say the Broncos fans ran him out of town. It was more Josh McDaniels ran him out of town.
No, that's what I meant. When I said he got ran out of town, I meant by McDaniels.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Maybe it's,
But yeah, even when if you look at the quarterbacks that were in that same draft as Bo, you look, JJ McCarthy, he's had his struggles. Jane Daniels, sophomore, he's kind of having a sophomore slump himself. Granted, it's been a combination of injuries, among other things. Somehow Drake May is looking like a possible NFL MVP for reasons unknown. And I'll go off.
He's got an easy schedule.
I was going to say that because he has an easy schedule. Caleb Williams it's been hit or miss. I think who else? Oh, Michael Penix is also struggling. So we're looking at McCarthy. Let's just group McCarthy, Penix, and Daniels together.
Penix looked awful on Sunday.
Exactly. So
why are we not? It was 6:30 in the morning, and I was drinking, but my goodness, he looked terrible.
I mean, I'm sitting here complaining about how the Broncos aren't using J.K. Dobbins enough. I'm sitting there like, you have Bijan Robinson, and you're winning the game. What? Why are you throwing the ball? Has that worked at all today?
Especially how terrible he throws the ball. People wouldn't complain about Bo. Y'all need to go watch.
Go watch a Michael Penix tape.
Oh, it's awful.
But it's like I say, like these 3 quarterbacks are struggling in their sophomore year, yet Bo Nix is getting all the hate for it. But I thought that East Coast media doesn't really watch the West Coast, so they're already in bed. So what?
Well, Thursday night game, everyone's gonna watch it.
True, very true.
I mean, there's nowhere there's nothing else to watch on Thursday night. But I mean, we've complained about the bias forever, and that they have nothing to say about the Broncos until they can criticize them. Until
they're doing something right, or they're doing something completely wrong. They have oh, this is easy pickings. We all of a sudden they're 8-2, as you said, leading the AFC West, the number 2 seed. Oh, they're actually doing well. Let's try to nitpick at something here for a second. And sure enough, they found something.
Yeah, it's not really nitpicking.
I mean, it's fair. It's just,
but it's not. I don't know when it's going to change, and all we can do every week is pray that whatever lesson Sean's trying to teach him, gets taught, or Sean wakes up and says, oh, how about we try it this way? Until then, this is the football we're stuck watching, and just everything crossed that it keeps working towards victories.
Absolutely. I do want to throw out one negative, ugly stat for the both of you. And I'm sure it's been seen all over social media. And this is actually bad for both the Raiders and the Broncos. There were more penalties between both those teams than there were first downs.
Yeah, it's the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are notorious for playing ugly games, and then they're notorious for half the penalties we have are because the Raiders started it. I mean, the Holy Roller rule, the Raiders. There's just so many rules that go back to the Raiders did it. The Denver Broncos get called for a lot of penalties. We are the most penalized team in the league at this point. And I don't think it's close. I think it's like our sacks. We make the most sacks and it's not close. We get penalized the most and it's not close. But again, we sit here every week and some of the penalties are straight ass.
Mm-hmm.
And some aren't. And again, and all Sean Payton says is we'll look at the film and we'll clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see if this little mini bye, they got some rest, that they're not so fatigued. If suddenly it becomes clearer to them.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the stat. Denver is tied with Jacksonville right now for the most penalties in the NFL with 83. The next closest is the Giants with 79.
Well, in our defense, we also have not had a bye yet, so we've played one more game than a lot of these teams.
That is true.
That's true.
But still, yikes.
But I mean, it also, if you're not holding, you're not trying.
Yeah.
If you, all the time it is said that if you really slow down the tape, you could find a penalty on every play if you were looking. For some reason, the referees have decided they're and it's all over the league. Every game I watch, I can't believe some of the penalties.
Oh yeah.
They're calling. Tonight, the NBA, Steph got a flagrant called on something that's just nothing. He stepped over a guy because he was on the court. He got called for a flagrant. I mean, it's a sports conspiracy. All the referees have decided that they're the star of the show. But there's not a game that I watch where there's not some just asinine penalty.
Or it's the Chiefs. Didn't they not get a single penalty in their last game or something outrageous?
Yeah. And what I hate is when I watch and the players start to point and the refs listen.
Oh yeah.
And I've said before, when you don't get a pass and you go like this, it's a flop. I don't believe you. And then, but it's and I cannot stand when flags get thrown and then they have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Get through the flag. What did you see? What are you discussing? So, the referees, I think across the NFL, I think if you talk to any fan base except the Chiefs, because how that goes, but they'll still say that they claim that the Bills never get called for anything.
The Bills were called for more penalties in their game than the Chiefs were.
I'm just telling you what the fan base says when you point it out. Everyone's complaining.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said at the beginning, part of me feels like, Goodell needs to step in and stop this.
But is he really going to, though?
No.
Yeah.
There was one flag on the Raider game watching. They threw the flag before the ball was snapped.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that. And what they call? What was the penalty?
They call like pass interference, but you threw the flag before the how did you see pass interference coming? You're clairvoyant.
No, no, that makes no sense. How you before he threw the ball? How? Wow. That
It's the
have
play
been
I
weird.
sent you where they threw all 3 flags at the same time. Everyone just threw a flag.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mhm.
And it can't. So I mean, some of them, yes. You show the replay. Yes, it's holding. Yeah, there was motion. Yeah, it was a false start. So, some of it, okay, yeah, but some of it, and I. The 2 games ago when I broke down and was like, it was ticky-tacky call. It's just there's just no way that should be called. But
Yep. What can you do? What can you do?
So it's at this point, I think we just need to breathe in and go, okay, it might be ugly football, but a win is a win.
Yeah.
And I really don't care how ugly this win is. The Chiefs need to go home with a loss. Yes. We need as many games on them as we can. Period.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were saying like if Denver were to win this game, it may be impossible for Kansas City to catch up.
Yeah, but we got to win it.
Yeah. So if we win it, Kansas City might be kissing their possible 10th straight AFC West title goodbye. And that would be great.
10's enough.
9 was enough. No, 1 was enough for me.
Well, yeah, 1 was enough, but I mean, but really, for real, 10's enough.
Mm-hmm. We don't need another version of the New England Patriots running the division every single year.
I mean, if the Patriots are back up on the rise and the Steelers are back up on the rise, then the Broncos got to be back up on the rise too. Then no rules. Okay, y'all your Bills and your Chiefs and your Ravens, y'all had your moment. It's our turn again.
Yep. Go back to pretty much that's it.
You've had the last decade. It's our turn again. It's the other team's turn again.
Yes, amen. Absolutely. I want to can I throw out one good thing about this game though?
Please.
DeAndre Tillman, if you were to tell me halfway through the season that a defensive lineman would be leading the team in interceptions, I'd have called you crazy.
It just fits with, you told me we were 8-2. I'd have called you crazy. You told me we'd come back and score 33 points in the last 10 minutes of a game. I'd have called you crazy. But I love it. And one day, he's going to get one that he returns to the house. And I'm going to be so happy for him.
He was
so close. He's so close. Because I saw it against the Cowboys and he didn't go down for a very long time. I was like, oh, you had so much more to go. But then he did it again. And I was like, oh, next one, you're making it to the end zone.
I would love to see it this upcoming Sunday. Absolutely see it. Twice. Yeah, I'll do it twice. That's my one good I wanted to throw out there. There were plenty of others, but let's talk about some goods though. We'll start with actually, Lindsay, what are some goods that you saw from the game?
J.K. Dobbins, I mean, I think this is a good transition into talking about the Chiefs game in that he's, to me, been such a bright light. And so now I'm like, holy bleep, what are we going to do if we don't have him against the Chiefs? Because to me, I mean, he's just been incredible. And it's been why it's been so aggravating that like I think there is no question Homeboy should have 20 plus rushes a game. No question. It shouldn't. I don't care who we play. That should always be the game plan. And he had 18 rushes for, I think, 77 yards, averaging over 4 yards a carry. You can't ask for much more from him other than, imagine if he, that first quarter, instead of, I think we counted 4 total carries. Imagine if he had 10 carries. Like, could be a huge difference.
That's what happened last week. In the first half, he only had 4 carries, and he was ripping off like 6-7 yards a carry, and then, whoa, like Sean Payton forgets about him. Right. Yes, no, he has been great, and I love, I love his interviews, but. Like I used to joke that I'd rent a airplane with the banner. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can all chip in and just have an airplane circle mile high, run the ball, give the ball to JK, give the ball to JK.
There you go.
And it can just make a really loud sound and make Sean Payton look at it. I don't. I don't know how to make Sean Payton do it.
If there's a will, there's a way.
All that security on the field. I don't know how to do it.
All right. How about you, Kelly? Any goods?
Rinse, lather, repeat the defense.
Yes.
Sacks on sacks on sacks. Pressure the quarterback. They can't make that. Because the Raiders they came out hot. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh my goodness, the Raiders are just, this is what a divisional game is. They don't care what their record is. They don't care if they're seeing the postseason. They want to come to Denver. They want to beat Denver. They want it more. They're playing for it. But, really after the first quarter, they did not look good. Mm-hmm. Like that's all the fire they had in them, which thank goodness, because we barely had anything to counteract it. We had just enough to counteract it. So, but that defense and they don't get tired. I don't, 3 and out. They're back on that field and they do not get tired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's nothing more we can say other than defense, keep it up.
Please.
Yeah. Very much so. All right. So I think we should transition out because it's not much.
Can I J.R. Smith this game? Even though
for all means, go for it. I've already forgot. I think I forgot about it by like Saturday night. That's how done I was with that game. So let's transition right into around the NFL. And you know what, Kelly? I will let you do your pieces first.
Okay, so I guess the biggest news is the Giants fired Brian Dable. Dable. The edict was really given to him last January, and Dable was aware coming into this season that he had to win while developing a rookie quarterback, which isn't always easy. But this is his 3rd straight season that he goes 2-8.
Yep.
And this is,
he did win though, Coach of the Year one year, right?
His first season he did.
Yeah.
And I think they said like he was 13-30 since winning Coach of the Year.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, this comes after his 24-20 loss to Chicago, which I did happen to watch because they put Russ in the game. And I was like, Russ is going to throw his interception. Let's go. Chicago's coming back. And I just happened to be right.
It's so painful. And it's so painful because it was like he went in and you just were like, for the love of God, please don't. Like, and I'm talking to God, like, please be with Russell Wilson. Like, protect him, God Almighty. Do not throw. And then just it somehow worse than I expected.
And this 24-20 loss to Chicago is the second time this season the Giants have blown a 10-plus point lead with under 4 minutes remaining. Do we all remember the first game that happened to?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in this debacle of a game, Jackson Dart was injured. Jackson Dart was injured.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I really think the injury to Dart is more of the weighted more into it, because the ball came out, was very insistent that he just did not want to take away Dart's aggressiveness and how he played.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, the front office was saying, hey, you got to develop this quarterback. You got to teach him to stay in the pocket. He can't be so aggressive. And DeBall just kept saying, this is how he plays. I'm going to play to his strengths. And they said, well, that's not working. And we keep losing. And now you've got our rookie quarterback injured. You can go. Mike Kafka,
yeah.
Kafka takes over, and just a little while ago, just a few hours ago, Jameis Winston was named the starter. So, not to promote gambling, but I'd start betting the over.
And probably take the over on 0.5 interception too.
0.5 touchdowns, 0.5 interceptions. Yep. There's one thing I do want to talk about in regard to that. And I only say this because one of the many individuals I live with, my sister's boyfriend is a Giants fan. He said that they were mentioning about regarding Jackson Dart's injury was that apparently he got the concussion at some point, and he didn't get pulled out until after they saw him throw a pass while he was concussed, and it looked really bad. So it's like they need to pull him out. And it was Jackson Dart, something like that. and I'm using an elementary term here, dabbing up all his teammates usually like after he gets off the field and everything. But apparently he like stared at like the bench, didn't say anything, and like finally like turned around, like it looked like he was zoned out. And so that kind of told you like there's something wrong with this guy. And you even have to go back to when Jackson Dart and the Giants beat the Eagles a couple weeks ago, and he ended up getting a concussion. And the fact that Dable came into the medical tent, he ended up getting fined for it. It was like, that's bad. Like, you really want this quarterback to succeed so badly that you're willing to risk his brain health just to win some games.
I mean, again, before I put that all on DeBall, players tend to say they're okay to go.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, I don't think Geno Smith should have been playing those last drives.
Oh, absolutely not.
He was visibly hurt. He'd gone into the tent. He'd come out of the tent. He had gone back into the tent. He's on the bike. He is grimacing in pain. Mm-hmm. He doesn't look right. Why are you gritting this game out of all things?
Yeah,
exactly.
And Carroll didn't pull him. I could not believe Pete Carroll didn't pull him. I just on national TV, there's not anybody with eyes that don't have cataracts and or glaucoma that thought Geno Smith should be in that game. And I don't know how much. I'd really like to see the NFLPA of how much the player gets to say, I'm staying in, and how much the coach gets to say, no, you're not.
Absolutely.
Because we all blame the coach. Because we feel like I've always felt like, and I always kind of think the coach is kind of the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, like, even if I show up sick, if my principal walks by me and I'm throwing up in a trash can, she's going to look at me and tell me to go home. And Absolutely. I can't really tell her no. Like, she is the administrator. She is in charge of that school there. But, by default, she's in charge of me. So, I mean, that's how I kind of think of coaches, that, you know, the player plays, but at some point you have like half a vote or a say more than that. And we all blame coaches when players go and hurt. We all blame the coaches and not the player.
Mhm.
Because, you know, they're all grown men, right? This is why you can't yell at them. This is why it's ridiculous they get fined. These are grown men. These grown men should be able to say, yo, coach, I'm hurt. Yo, I'm not going back in. You need to call up number 2.
Mhm.
Right? So I just don't know how it happens. And you know, and I can see a rookie quarterback kind of like, oh, I don't want to, you know, I kind of get that from the athlete's point of view when you're young, that you don't want to say, oh no, I'm hurt. You know, and like Surtain came out and said, oh, I'm not going to need, don't put me on injured reserve. I'm young, I'm strong. I'm not going to need 4 weeks. And Jaden Daniels is saying the same thing. Like that, I think, you know, because they're going to continue to be monitored is fine. But I would like to see in the contract who that falls on.
Right.
Before I keep screaming at the coaches, because if it's worded somewhere that the player gets final say first, I don't know why we're all blaming the coaches.
That's fair.
Now I know way back in the 60s and 70s that players were pressured and there was a whole bunch of shady, you know, stuff going on to shoot them up and give them things and make them play. But that has long not been, or it's long not been the status quo. That you know, player health and safety has, you know, is much higher.
Mhm.
But I mean, I thought the same thing with Pete Carroll watching Geno. Like, why are you letting Geno Smith try and grit this out?
Only they know. And they know. All right. Anything else?
Oh, special teams coordinator Tom McCann, you know, that Broncos country probably just loves. That Thursday night game got him fired from the Raiders.
I didn't realize
that was the second block punt on the season. You know, in week 4, his special teams had a game-winning field goal blocked against Chicago. In week 3, Commanders rookie Jalen Lane returned a punt 90 yards for a touchdown. And just as a trivia note aside, Tom McMahon is the last part of the Josh McDaniels Raiders staff from 2022.
Ah.
So he had sat there for a very long time, and he, you know, survived McDaniels leaving, survived Antonio's Pierce, but, you know, Carroll, you know, and Carroll just said, we've decided to go in a different direction. But with how bad our special teams is, that our special teams look better than your special teams. Yeah, it was time to go.
Yeah.
So that you know, that's all I got this week are some coach firings.
Okay. Anything come across your mind, Lindsay?
No, I mean, for me, I already touched on it, but the Russell Wilson, I mean, you know how Ryan Murphy writes those limited series for FX where he did like the one on Aaron Hernandez, he did the one for Netflix on who is that serial killer? Jeffrey Dahmer. Like
Dahmer.
I want somebody to greenlight the Russell Wilson tragedy and have Ryan Murphy write that, because it just gets worse. And look, I'm glad Russell Wilson is no longer my quarterback. There's only so much defending I can do of his play on the field, but it really is. It's hard to watch at this point, knowing just what a few years ago, how he was seen and what he was thought of by NFL fans, to just like third string for the, you said 2-8 New York Giants, who was the final nail in the coffin for the head coach getting fired midseason.
Who
Absolutely.
was our guest that asked about his legacy?
I have to go back. I can't.
Do you remember? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, nobody can ever take away that Super Bowl from him.
Right.
You always have that.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it's like I said, I don't know, because there's so many athletes that they just stay one season too long, one play too long, that, you know, one team too many, where, you know, and not just football, you know, there's many where you're like,
well, I'd honestly,
you know,
argue he had the opposite problem in that he should have stayed where he was longer instead of leaving the Seahawks. Like, leaving the Seahawks is what started all of this for him. He had a team who had literally created the perfect system for him that wasn't going to be replicated anywhere else. And he decided it wasn't enough, and like he thought he could do more elsewhere. And then now you're right. We've gotten to the point where it's like next season, is he going to be a Jet? And then the following season, he's going to be a Titan?
Oh, jeez.
I know.
Well, by then I'm hoping Cam Ward has developed, and they're, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was growing friction between Wilson and the Seahawks before he left. It's unclear, you know, again, that no one's really honestly come out and said what that was. I think Sean Payton has come the closest to saying, you know, you're not a politician, you're a quarterback. You know, and many players have brands. You know, don't get me wrong. And Russell Wilson has a brand and a persona that he projects, and it does seem to have taken him away from good football.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's, you know, yeah, the what he could have had in Seattle, and, you know, especially if they hadn't lost that Super Bowl to the Patriots. You know, but even with that loss, it was storybook, and he's kind of turned his storybook into horror.
It went from like, I don't know, like Disney to
to Stephen
like,
King. Yeah.
Stephen King, that's what yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, and it's, you know, and again, he's one of those people that off the field seems like just a very good man. So it's hard, but it, you know, I mean, and it ruins every stat he has, because now his per game percentage and his lifetime QBR, it's just tanking it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
Sad, very sad. Excuse me. All right, so my only around the NFL moment. So this happened. This actually happened right before Denver played Las Vegas on Thursday night. Tragedy broke out that Marshawn Nealon passed away. I'm not going to divulge into the details, because if you haven't heard, you go research it yourself. All I'll say is this, and I'll tie in a couple things that happened along with it. Your mental health matters. Help and hope are always within reach. Oh, and this is what the Cowboys posted just a couple days ago. If you or someone you love is struggling, call or text 988. The National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is available 24/7, offering free, confidential support for anyone in emotional distress. And so it pains me that Nealon, who literally 2 days before this all happened, returned a blocked punt for a touchdown in his first and only touchdown of his young NFL career. So it pains me that he has gone through this, and I also am heartbroken for his family that he had to go. That
his girlfriend's pregnant.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's oof.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say on that. Like, I can't even put that into words at how tragic that part of it is.
Yeah.
But it hurts like that he got to a point where he felt like there was nowhere else he could turn, which I know that there's a lot of resources out there now. But it just hurts that it came to that point. In a sense, tying along with that, there was one little bit of news that came out earlier this week that Jair Alexander, my bad, had literally was traded to the Eagles like maybe a week ago hasn't played for them, but he told the Eagles this week that he is stepping away from football for his physical and mental health. And I think that takes a lot of courage to tell a team that, especially one that you have only been with for 1 week. There's not much, I don't want to say there's not much to say on it, but it kind of shows that he is taking, I wish I could find out how old he is because I can't remember off the top of my head. The fact that he went to the Eagles and said like, hey, I need some time to think about my physical health and my mental health. And that kind of shows that there might be something that's going on with him behind the scenes, and he kind of wants to get his mind right before he thinks about football, because in the grand scheme of things, your life is more important than a game.
Absolutely.
Well, but even this is their career that they've worked for. But no matter what your career is, your life is more important than your career.
Absolutely.
So I know we like to call football just a game. We like to put it in perspective that way. But these men have worked their entire lives to be the top. And we've done the math before. Only so many men get into the NFL. So even the bad teams, even the 2-8, those are elite athletes that this is what they do. Football is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the totality of who they are, the same as all the work you put into whatever your job is. It's
Absolutely.
not the totality of who you are.
Without a doubt. And as you all may know, AJ Brown has been such a huge advocate for mental health. Basically, you just have to go back to his time in Tennessee where he had that interview. It got to the point where like a reporter was like breaking down and crying, and like she asked him like, "What made you want to talk about this?" And he's been brutally honest in the fact that at one point he thought like there's no point in me being in this world anymore. And I think he's been like such a huge advocate for mental health. You've seen him surround himself with people that he thinks is going to be better for, that can kind of understand, I guess, kind of what he's going through and things like that. You see him on the sideline reading self-help books, which it was brought to the attention to one reporter, like he's reading a self-help book on the sidelines, and like, what's that all about? And they're like making us, and he was the subject of trade rumors before the trade deadline. And it's like, does he like not really like being with the Eagles anymore? Does not like this or that? And I think they push that narrative a little too much, because it's tough to explain because I can't speak for AJ Brown and whatever it is that the Philadelphia Eagles were going through for that period of time. But if he's doing what he can to protect his mental peace, then let the man be.
Absolutely.
So, in all, I'm saying that do what you can to protect your inner peace. Surround yourself with people that care. And if you're ever in a situation where you feel like, hey, like, I'm not feeling okay, or this, well, not this, that, I just don't know where to go, there are resources to help out. And so it pains me that we see individuals throughout our lives that, and the biggest thing is that you never know what battle someone's going through. And so as a teacher, I always try to teach my students to treat everyone with respect, because you never know what you may say, what you may do. And we've heard the stories. Like, I don't have to go into full detail, but it's important to protect your inner peace and treat each other with kindness. And that's all I've got to say about that.
Love it.
Before we do get in games of the week, try and go on a little, maybe it's not so much of a lighter note, but trying to solve a mystery that Kelly has about one particular quarterback that, Lindsay, we would like to hear your thoughts on.
Okay.
Take it away, Kelly.
Huh?
What? You know, A-Rod, wife.
Oh. I completely forgotten. Supposedly Aaron Rodgers showed up to training camp with a wedding ring, and State said he's married. No one has seen this person. She's not appeared at a game, at a press conference.
So I have a lot of theories about Aaron Rodgers that I don't know. I don't know how much you want me to divulge the theories I think about Aaron Rodgers.
Do we believe he's married?
How deep do you want me to go? I don't. I don't think most of his public relationships have been real. I don't think he was really engaged to Shailene Woodley. I think his relationship with Danica Patrick was completely PR. I think his relationship with Olivia Munn was completely PR. I don't think there's a single real thing about that man to the general public.
Okay.
I
just find it funny that the Steelers wags are all like, "Oh, we want to meet her, we want to invite her out, but we don't know where she is." Like, well, damn.
I think that man.
This is something really big to lie about.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers has been caught in lies before. This is not the first time. And again, I don't think any of his relationships have been real. So to me, it's like, to me, it wouldn't be that big of a deal that he's lying about this. I think he's very deranged. I think he also has a lot of demons that I hope he heals from. I'm so ready for him to just go away. I'm so over him, and it's just exhausting. And it's like, and then we watch him Sunday night, and I'm like, this guy is not good. What is all this for?
Okay, so I'm actually looking at his Wikipedia page, which who knows. It says in December 2024, Rodgers said that he was dating a woman named Brittany. In June 2025, he stated that he got married a few months prior. So is this the?
I mean, he has stated it. Like I said, it came up because he's flashing a wedding ring, which, most men don't flash their wedding ring.
Yeah.
I mean, about half the men I know even wear a wedding ring, even though they're married, and not out of trying to hide it, just I know a lot of men who don't wear any jewelry, and including a wedding ring. I'm not, I think it's gotten a little better now that they've made like silicone rings and, wood grain rings and stuff that doesn't look like, most men aren't like my NFL players with like Cartier stacks and, two tennis bracelet, two tennis necklaces hanging hanging from their neck. The men I know in real life aren't like that. So I don't know. I just thought it was funny that now there's a search for her, but she can't be that hard to find.
No, and guess what? We're not talking about how pathetic his performance was, how his offense isn't very good. We're all just talking of like he is very good at getting attention. He's very good at getting us to talk about other things.
I mean, the two things that come out when I think of Aaron Rodgers, what I think about is the one time he said, "We'll just run the table," and then he did. Mm-hmm. And like by the 7th game, I was like, "How the fuck are you guys just letting him run the table? This is what he said he was going to do. Someone step up." And then at the one time, he's like, "Relax, RELAX, relax." So I mean, those are the two things that come to mind. I've not paid attention to a lot of them on Pat McAfee. I know he has said some controversial things and stuff like that. And I just, none of that, really interests me. For a while, I did kind of follow that, he doesn't get along with his family. Mm. But to me, that's also not out of the norm. A lot of people that get money and fame need to cut their family out of their life for various reasons. And since his family has never come out and said, no, he's the one that's a dick, then, that becomes he said, she said. So, but also I think some of it is the Steelers. I respect the Steelers and the fact they've had 3 coaches since 1970.
Yeah.
So part of me respects the fact that, they just don't dispose of everybody and go around the carousel. But also, God, it's how many years in a row that they're 9-7, and then can't win the first playoff game, and Mike Tomlin stays, and they just do it again, and so the Steelers are sitting on top of their conference, they're the number 4 seed sitting there, and it's just another Tomlin year. So there's not. To me, until something different happens with the Steelers, there's just no reason to follow it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they're going on 3 years, I think, either being like that 9-7, 9-8, 8-9, making playoffs, but then being one and done.
And not always one and done. I mean, but they couldn't win against Tebow. I mean, so maybe not just always one and done, but pretty done pretty quick. So, not to the Super Bowl. And I always think, when I think of Antonio Brown, I always think of the fact that Tomlin won, the Steelers and Tomlin won that playoff game. And I don't remember who they were playing, but they knew they had to play the Patriots next, and it was the early game, and they had just finished the late game. And he was saying something, and he started by saying, "Okay, I need y'all to put your phones away." And Antonio Brown still didn't put his damn phone.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then, Antonio Brown gets unleashed on the world, and you're like, oh my God, how did he manage that? And then, some of the other divas that you're like, oh my God, he managed all of that. He's a better coach than we think. But it's been years that this has kind of been the Steelers story. Mm-hmm. They will make the playoffs.
Somehow, some way.
But they're not making the Super Bowl.
Right.
So I don't pay a lot of attention to them at this point.
No.
It's fair. Totally fair. All right. Game of the week. All right. Lindsay, you're our guest, so you go first.
what is game? Sorry, what is that?
Oh,
We pick a game. You pick a game outside of Denver versus KC that fans should pay attention to.
Got it. Okay,
here,
that's
I'll
what I
go first.
thought. That's what I
Yeah.
thought, but I didn't want to sound like an idiot. I am going with. So, if you had asked me a few weeks ago, I think Bucks and Bills would have been a really fun one, but I just don't think the Bucks are. It's without all their players. It's just I don't see the Bills losing that. So. Yeah, damn, there's a lot of really good matchups that at the beginning of the season would have been exciting. Another one would be like Bengals and Steelers. That doesn't really interest me anymore. So
Yeah, this segment gets harder as the season progresses.
Yeah. I have two. So I'm gonna say from a national standpoint, Lions, Eagles. No one's gonna argue with that. From my own personal how invested I am, Chargers, Jaguars, because I will obviously be rooting for the Jaguars like they are my own child.
Love it. Kelly?
I picked Bears and Vikings.
Okay.
Just because Chicago's on a hot streak. They've won 6 of their last 7. They win games like we do. They don't show up till the fourth quarter to win. People are calling them the cardiac Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
Asking if they bear leave.
Barely.
So,
nice.
Yeah. And they've won with a blocked field goal. They recovered a fumble late, long touchdown pass. And they keep coming back by 10 or more points in that fourth quarter. They're still top 10 in scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lot of struggles on third down, but they do not struggle in that red zone. Once they get down there, Williams managed to evade sacks last week.
Mm-hmm.
So he had 8 rush attempts with 63 yards. But when Williams isn't the running back, they got a 3-headed rushing attack.
They do.
Meanwhile, the Vikings, I know I picked the Viking games last week because I said, oh, McCarthy's back. And since, we sacrificed Wentz for him, because again, whose job was it to see how hurt Wentz was to keep throwing him out there on the field? But the Vikings, and Bears played week 1, and the Bears won in the fourth quarter 21-point comeback. But the Viking defense last week held Lamar Jackson of the Ravens, to 176 yards, 1 touchdown, and less than a 90 QBR.
All
so right. Meanwhile, the Bears defense is allowing 24 plus points, games. So the Viking defense also stopped the Lamar Jackson 3 out of 5 times in the red zone. 12 of those points were field goals. And they held Sir Derrick Henry to less than 4 yards per carry.
Wow.
So the Vikings with their rookie QB, seems to have a defense going. But Chicago's, playing like Bo Nix. So,
I think I know. I really am upset that this game is during the Broncos and Chiefs game, but I went with Seahawks and Rams. If you were to tell me, and I felt I said that already, so I'm gonna transition. I would never. I kind of thought the Rams would be kind of like a dark horse team in the NFC. I honestly wouldn't have expected Seattle to play the way they're playing right now. They're right now 7-2, coming off of an absolutely dismantling of the Arizona Cardinals, where their defense scored at 2 scooping scores. And they had, I believe it was 21 or 28 points in the first quarter.
And they had 14 like in the first 3 minutes, because all I did was go grab something from the kitchen, or I, went downstairs or something. I came back and I'm like, how is it 14-0? I wasn't gone that long.
Right. I think I tuned into that game like 10 minutes in. I'm like, oh, let's just see how this game's going. and it was like 21 or like 28 nothing. I'm like, what happened here? And then I heard like all the scoops and scores, and then yeah, it was like they were just scoring at will for the longest time. Obviously, they were able to slow down. Like, 20 points were good, and then, I mean, they weren't good, but granted, though, it was against a Jacoby Brissett-led Cardinals team, so take that.
Well,
But divisional game too, so that also makes sense. Because divisional games, you never know what you're going to get. So the Rams, led by Matthew Stafford, are also 7-2. I kind of saw them. I kind of saw them being like one of the top 2 teams in the NFC West. I just didn't expect 7-2 at this rate. So this is the first of 2 matchups. They'll play each other again roughly a month later. They play, I think, the Thursday night game before Christmas. And so this game could be a very interesting way in finding out which team is for real, which team might falter a little bit. And this one of these teams, if they keep it up, could end up becoming the number 1 seed in the NFC. So if you can if you're a real football fan and you can split screen it, split our game and this game. But with all that said, let's get into our game. Because I think if Seattle and LA weren't playing, this would have been my game of the week no matter what. So we have the 8-2 Broncos. How this team, like, you guys are the worst, but we're 8-2 though.
Amen.
Going against the Chiefs. Amen, absolutely. Going against the 5-4 Chiefs. We have the most golden opportunity to put this team back at 500, where they belong. And pretty much a win would. I mean, I've seen crazier things happen. Not going to reference the 2008 Denver Broncos season. But anyways, we have a golden opportunity to put this team down by 3 in the loss column with 6 more games left for us after this game.
Now, if they're 5-4, and when they lose on Sunday, they're 5-5, they have 7 more games.
Oh, okay. So
they had a bye this week.
I forgot. Yeah. 5-4, and yeah,
So I don't know that us beating them mathematically eliminates them. It makes it very difficult, but I don't think they're mathematically eliminated on Sunday when they lose.
No, I don't think so.
I'm just gonna keep trying to put that out there.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Oh, you know, I thought the 6. It's because Denver will have 6 games left after this game. That's what I'm thinking about. Because they'll have Commanders, Raiders, Packers, Jaguars, Chiefs, Chargers. Yep, that's 6.
Right, because we played 10 and they played 9, so we'll have 6 and they'll have 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then they'll catch up once we have our bye the following week. So, okay. Got it. Either way though, gotta find a way to.
But it'd be nice to have a 4-game lead on them.
It would be nice. Absolutely. Yeah, having being up.
It'd be really nice if the Chargers start losing again too.
Oh yeah, because they're really right. I think they're like right behind us.
They are, because none of the teams we needed to win Sunday won.
Yes,
I know. That was painful.
Not a single one.
See, the Falcons blew it. The Buccaneers, depends on how you look at it, because
they didn't win. That's how I look at it. They didn't win. I needed them to win, and they didn't win.
They did need to win. Thankfully, though, they played an NFC team, so that gave Denver the little boost up to be the number 2 seed. But man, like you said, Lindsay, what happened with the Steelers against the Chargers?
They had nothing. They had nothing. They're only, I mean, the thing is the Chargers almost had nothing. It was 3-2, and then they did score a touchdown before the end of the first half, but it was because the Chargers got an interception and it had insane field position. It wasn't like they had charged down the field. So I wasn't that impressed with the Chargers. I don't know why they're getting a pass. They've done nothing that's that impressive to me. Other than their first 2 or their first 3 games. And then since then, what? You almost lost to the Titans.
Yep. So I don't know where to start with this game, honestly. Like, it's basically cut and dry. Cut and paste, basically. We need to win this game. The question is, do we win this game? Can we stop Mahomes? Can we stop Andy Reid? Can we stop anybody? And more importantly, can we keep the refs from favoring Kansas City? Which I did see your tweet. I did see a tweet out there.
Okay, but it's wrong.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
Oh,
so hold on. Hold on. The tweet was wrong. So let me give you the right ones. Okay. Adrian Hill is a strict ref, right? And so, I've talked about this before. When my boys played sports and we kind of, got a hold of the refs, like in football, there was one ref that was always going to call holding. So when we saw him, we were like, oh my goodness, don't start holding. And, there was another ref that was strict on, the rules are a little different in Pee Wee football with the linemen moving up. Because they're little, but there was one that was real strict. Or like playing basketball, there was a couple referees that were real strict about the 3-second rule in the key.
Mm-hmm.
And then other ones, gave them a little leeway. So you kind of started to recognize it just seemed like every ref had one rule they honed in on. And so you started to recognize the ref and the rule. So Adrian Hill is one of the stricter ref, and he calls more holding penalties than anything else. He's called 30 this season, with 22 going to the home teams. So, and he overall calls more to the home team than the visiting team. But the Chiefs are 4-0 with Adrian, and the Broncos are 2-0 with him.
Okay.
And they played Tampa and Carolina in those 2 games.
Okay.
And so yes, I saw the tweet, but the when I said I'm going to steal this for the podcast, he contacted me today and said, "Don't say those numbers. It's wrong. Here's the right ones." So that's why you're like, I saw the tweet. I was like, "Oh, don't quote that tweet. I've got the correction." So expect the yellow flags. They're coming.
Okay.
They're apparently this ref, they're just going to come, and they're going to, he calls more for the home team. We are the home team. Casey's coming off a true bye week. We're coming off the mini bye, playing Thursday night. Casey's defense is holding teams to 21 points or less. So, it would be nice if our offense woke up quicker, got in tempo quicker, found a rhythm quicker, however, whatever the correct way to word that is. Marvin Mims should be back. They said Surtain was now day-to-day. I still think it's too early for him to be back.
Yeah, I wouldn't really expect him back until after the bye.
I don't expect him back. We're going to need our defense at full throttle to get Mahomes. But Mahomes is coming off one of his worst games ever. And part of what made it awful was he was under constant duress.
Yeah.
And he was under that duress with only 52% of the plays were not blitzed. But the Bills got 6 sacks on 20, or our defense last week got 6 sacks on 26 pass attempts on Geno.
Wow.
So, what I've heard someone say, when it's not a full-on blitz, but they send extra hunters, Mahomes really struggles with that.
Okay.
Yes.
So I hope Vance Joseph knows that and sends extra people. They're tied second with only 5 turnovers. So, taking the ball from them has proved, and they're 9th on converting on 3rd down. So,
oh wow,
yeah, they convert well. So that our defense really, really needs to be at 110% to give us a chance. Or our offense needs to come out with their hair on fire and just really, because the last 2 games, part of what I think has really worked for the other teams against us is we've had 1 possession in the first quarter.
Yeah.
We can't get a rhythm going if we don't have any dancing time. Both for the last 2 first quarters, we only saw the ball 1 time.
Yeah.
So
that changes. I threw down. So I'm gonna kind of tie in on what Lindsay said with the whole J.K. Dobbins situation. The Denver made an interesting move today. They ended up signing Lil Jordan Humphrey to the practice squad. I think it was to the practice squad. And I thought it was confusing with Marvin Mims possibly coming back. Like, why do we need another receiver?
Is Atkins is hurt, isn't he?
Atkins is hurt. Yes. So my thought process was thinking about all of this, and Kelly, you're not gonna like this a lot. There's something that Lil Jordan Humphrey is one of his specialties. That's blocking. Expect something that you're not gonna like, but it's probably gonna happen a lot. And that word is called screenplays.
Wait, so did we sign him to the practice squad?
I believe
we signed him.
I think it was to the practice squad, but let me double check.
I thought we signed him from the Giants practice squad.
Yeah, that's what it was. We signed him from the Giants practice squad. So yeah, he.
If he can block, then maybe the screen will work. The issue is
it doesn't work.
On the all-22, Bidet is not a good blocker.
Mm-hmm.
He can't pick it up. Atkins is not a good blocker. He doesn't pick up his blocks. Troutman is not a good blocker. So one of the main ingredients of the screen working is your blockers pick up their blocks. And on the all-22, none of those blocks are being hit, and that's why the screens loses his yards. Mm-hmm. So, Humphreys was on our team at one point.
Yes.
Hopefully they flew him in today so he can start sucking that mile-high air and get used to it again. And if he can block, I'm all for it. I'm all for if the other teams throw the screen pass and they pick up blocks and they pick up first downs with it. We don't block on our screen passes. I don't understand why they keep getting called because, like I said, to me, it feels like at this point, Peyton's just going to keep calling them in hopes that miraculously there's enough muscle memory that they start blocking. But who he calls for those blocks are they're not good blockers. And it's one of the many things applaud Shannon Sharp for is Shannon Sharp has always been honest. I'm not a blocker.
Mm-mm.
And if Elway threw a screen, Shannon Sharp wasn't on that field because Shannon Sharp wasn't going to block. Luckily, he was a good enough tight end and he caught enough balls and caught enough touchdowns and talked enough shit that he got, penalties for us to win his games. That
Right.
It was okay that he didn't block, that he had this missing skill set. But I don't think anybody on the Broncos offense is good enough that they can just have this missing skill set of blocking.
Right. It's crazy that I think it's a little I shouldn't say crazy. It's a little interesting when you kind of look into it at how, I mean, I guess it's not terrible in a sense, but as a wide receiver, I mean, I feel like your goal is to catch the ball, but like the fact that I'm not mad at the little Jordan Humphrey signing, I'm all for him being back. It just kind of makes me worried that teams are going to catch on to that and like, oh, like he's going to block. Let's try to set things up. Like, because Andy Reid, my goodness, he knows how to scheme a game really well.
Yeah, that's true. But, if he picks up his block, it doesn't matter. I mean, in the trenches, the D-line and the O-line, their whole job is blocking. Everyone knows they're blocking.
Mm-hmm.
And the good players still make their block. Even though everybody knows they're blocking. That's their job. So, that's if he can block and Sean's going to call them screen passes, maybe one will go forward.
One can only hope.
But, I saw the signing. I'm a little confused. I mean, it leads me to think Atkins is a little more hurt than they've released yet, or it's a little more questionable than they released, or they're waiting for a third opinion or something like that, for us to go sign somebody else when we didn't pick anybody up at the trade deadline. So, I think there's a bigger issue there that we don't quite know yet, that we've gone and picked him up. I'm not upset about it. He knows Denver. He's played in that air. He knows the field.
He knows the play.
And if he blocks, then yay, then he blocks. But
so he also knows he knows Peyton's playbook too.
Yeah. So, it makes sense. And, I don't know that Sean Payton will ever stop calling screens. I'm just confused at how you can see them fail and you don't just dial up some other play.
Right.
That you don't try something else. It gets frustrating watching, because it almost looks like a power struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you've got a grown up in the store, I need you to put that back, and the kid doesn't, and they just kind of stand there arguing with the kid. That's what all those screen passes look like. That Sean Payton is just come hell or high water. I'm going to call this play, and one day they're going to execute it. And it's like, oh my God, can we just get a first down?
Absolutely. One can.
So I don't know. They must run them in practice, and maybe they're very successful in practice. But I don't. Like I say, on the outside looking in, I'm befuddled.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Lindsay, why don't do you have any thoughts plus predictions for this game?
I'm just so afraid, and it's probably just internalized trauma. Like, it's gonna come down to some BS pass interference call at the very end of the game that results in a last second field goal from the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs being 5-5, the season that Taylor and Travis got engaged, probably Travis's last season. Like, I can't see the league, not to be too conspiracy theories, but I cannot see the league risking the Chiefs not making the playoffs. So it just feels too good to be true. But if you had told me when we started this season 1 and 2 that we'd be 8 and 2, that would have sounded insane to me. So I think that's helping maybe me feel like it's okay to feel optimistic. You're not going to get your heart ripped out of your chest. The Chiefs have not been that impressive this season. Travis Kelce has single-handedly cost his team 2 or 3 games, whether it's injuring his own players, literally handing the ball to the Eagles in the end zone. Like, they are very mistake prone. What I think it will come down to, and it's something I've wanted to see more from our defense this season, while they have been unbelievable, especially in the red zone, I want to see with how good they are, we should have way more turnovers. We should have way more fumble recoveries. We should have way more interceptions. I mean, if I had $1 for every time the ball has literally been in the hand of one of our defenders and they just can't bring it down. And I think given we're not going to have J.K. Dobbins, we're not going to have Pat Surtain, I think it's going to come down to those balls that are in the hands of the defenders. If we can convert a turnover or 2, I think that swings the game in our favor. I know we're concerned with the Broncos scoring, and I don't know logically how this makes sense. But if you look at the games when we didn't score, it was 2 of the shittiest teams in the league. It was the Jets and it was the Raiders. But when we played the Cowboys, we scored 44 points, right? When we played the Eagles, we scored 21 points. When we played the Giants, yes, they're 2-8, but their offense is pretty good. We scored 33 points. So I don't think this is going to be a case where, the score is all of a sudden 20-3 and the Broncos can't score. I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, that's my long-winded answer of saying I think it's going to come down to whether or not the Broncos can convert turnovers. It's also going to come down to RJ Harvey. I think this is going to be a game where we're going to have a run game. The Chiefs' run defense has been pretty good this season, so that does concern me a little bit. But I think we're going to see what he's made of. He's been fantastic catching the ball, but the rush hasn't been quite to the level that J.K. Dobbins has been. But I would love to be proven wrong. So I think those are going to be 2 of the biggest factors in the game.
All right, Kelly. So I'm trying to remember. We both had this as a win, or was it split? Or I think I did have this as a win.
We both have this one as a win.
I have to say win there. I have Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes toilet paper in my bathroom. Even if I didn't think the Broncos were going to win this game, like a piece of me would die if I said otherwise.
Fair enough.
I'll tell people, like, I don't care if you're 6'8", super emotionally intelligent, love cats. But then you like the Kansas City Chiefs. I will not date you. I won't do it. I will not do it. Absolutely not.
Fair.
It's that serious for me.
All right, Kelly, you sticking with the loss? I'm sorry, you still sticking with the win? Excuse me.
Yeah, it's
Adam Rank believes, so I believe too.
Is the only one
rank we trust. There we go. Yeah, I'm not going to change it. I think whatever is going on with our offense at the end of the day, they know they have to win this game. And I think they will. And I think I've watched Bo Nix will these wins. If he'll will another one.
Yep.
Love it.
It's just this one at home we'll take.
Are we doing score predictions?
You can.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to 2017. I think it's going to come, like I said, it's going to come down to that one turnover that the Broncos are able to convert. That makes the difference. That's how close I think it's going to be. I'm not delusional enough to think it's going to be 38-0 again. But I think Broncos speak it out.
Love it.
And unfortunately, if the Broncos do lose, I think it's going to be something close like a 2017 score, which will be so painful.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So it's fine.
All right. So I did just look at the game preview picks, and yes, in rank we trust because he is the one that did the Broncos. Man, granted, all the scores are really close, but man, like really no faith. That's crazy to me.
That's fine though. We do better when the national media just doesn't care about us.
Amen.
And just doubts us. I will never, I brought this up to you earlier this week. I will never forget TJ Ward looking at that media going, how do you still have your job? You said we couldn't beat the Steelers. You said we couldn't beat the Patriots. You said we couldn't beat here. How are you still employed? We beat them all, so that's not a direct quote, but he did ask how they still had their job.
He did.
He looked dead at them with the Super Bowl confetti falling going, you didn't think we could win. So I'm all for, and then, during the week I have started listening, Lee's got a couple podcasts out, and his one with Skip Bayless, the Gridiron, had TJ Ward. And if Lee and Ward, all week I've listened to Lee and Ward sit there and tell me this team is fine. This team's a winner. This team has it. I'm going to believe my Super Bowl 50 champions.
Amen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they love it. They love that it's a defense-led team. And they bring up all the time. They bring up all the time, 2016, that they still had that number one defense, but their offense wasn't getting them the points. But Bo delivers what he needs to deliver. So, they say the same thing. He's not without faults. He's a young guy. He's got to develop. He's got to take next steps. But they see a winning team. So I'm going to believe them and not the national media, who has always been wrong about my Broncos.
Absolutely. All right.
And I especially, I'm sorry, I told you I wouldn't go on a tangent tonight, but I especially cannot stand to listen to Skip Bayless talk about Bo Nix, because the only reason why I have ever given Skip Bayless any grain of salt is because I loved when he was so pro Tebow. And I remember Skip Bayless sitting there on national TV on ESPN saying it was no big deal. Tebow only completed 2 passes to beat the Chiefs. If 2 passes is always what you need to complete. But he acts like Bo Nix is just garbage.
Yep.
So I need Bo Nix to shut him up, because I believed in Tebow. I'm going to believe in Bo.
You got to believe. I will throw a score prediction. I'm going to stick with the Broncos win. I'm going to say I really do have faith in the defense that they can rattle Patrick Mahomes. And so I'm actually going to say the Chiefs are going to score less than 20 points. So I'm going to go with a 24-17 Broncos victory.
Love it.
And hopefully it will not come down to a field goal, because I think if it gets to that point, here, I'll throw a bold one out there. I think Kansas City is going to be at least near midfield. They're going to be facing a 4th down and let's say 4th and 4, 4th and 5. And you have Nick Bonito sacking Patrick Mahomes to seal it. He throws in completion. Or no, we're going to go with the Bonito snack to end the game.
Love it.
But I hope we can keep Kansas City down there with. I mean, they're not down there with the Raiders, but they're down there.
Yeah.
Love nothing more. But anything else we have this week, Kelly?
I don't have anything. Do you?
I do not. So on that note, Lindsay,
we want to give. Lindsay, you have anything you want to shout out or give your info to, or?
You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Lindsay Bebout. It looks like Bebout. It's just, I think it's a good time. I think it's a lot of absurd photos of cats and pictures of the toilet paper that's currently in my bathroom. And you can also check out my weekly article on the Broncos PFF grades on Mile High Sports. It typically comes out on Wednesday. It just depends on like this last week. I had one come out on Saturday because we had the Thursday game. But I'll always post it on both those places.
Yes. Oh, I just realized that we didn't get a Christina appearance tonight.
No, because I'm dog sitting, so I'm not home.
Mm.
It's not just Christina anymore. I have upgraded to 3 cats now.
Ooh.
But yes, they're at my apartment and I am currently not there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Trevor. I fed Trevor and Libby some lamb and veggies, and they're downstairs fat and happy.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're in heaven right now. All right, ready to close? Oh wait, I'm sorry. Before we close out, Lindsay, thank you so much once again for joining us. Always love having you on.
Love being here.
Whether it be Top Broncos talk or pop culture talk, things like that.
Aaron Rodgers conspiracy theories.
Aaron Rodgers conspiracy theories, which we're all for. We're all for here. All right, ready to close this out, Kelly?
Yes, as always, you can find me on X at I Love to Lead.
You can find me at TieFlyGuy15.
You can find us both at the same time.
IN_COM_PLETE_2.
Because there's 2 of us. That is the same name on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all those DMs are open for song requests, challenge flags, topic requests, guest requests, any questions, comments, or concerns. We are happy for you to disagree with us and have a discussion as long as you're respectful. And as always, when sliding into someone's DMs, please stay clothed. If sliding into someone's DM is not for you, we have an email.
IN_COM_PLETE@outlook.com. And we are live here on YouTube every Wednesday nights. Sorry, I'm thinking of the times. 9:15 my time, 8:15 Central Time, 7:15 Mountain Time, which where most of you are, and 6:15 Kelly time. Also, I think 6:15 is Lindsay time as well.
Yes, it is.
If you are unable to watch us live, which we totally understand, Wednesday is middle of the week, school night, or have to get there early. We still have our audio version of our podcast, which is always available at least 12 to 24 hours after we're on here. Of course, that might change this week because I'm not feeling 100%, so I will try my best to get it out. But with that said, hopefully you all can listen, leave review, comments, tell us what you'd like to see changed, because we love doing this podcast, but if you don't tell us what you like being changed, there's not much we can do. And I've also grown to accept the fact that we are not everyone's cup of tea.
Because I'm a shot of whiskey.
Yes. And I'm more of like a Glass on the Rocks whiskey, except for not tonight because I'm not feeling too well.
Then you should have had whiskey.
I know, but
it's medicinal at that point.
I know. I thought of it like, tea sounds a lot better tonight anyway. So
you should have put a shot of whiskey in your tea, and then we would have been a cup of tea and a shot of whiskey. We would have been for everybody.
Well, we'll see how next week goes. Oh, that's the other thing. So we're with the bye coming up. We have to see how this game goes. If it goes really well, we'll just update you if we're back next Wednesday or before the Washington game.
I would really like you to win. I would really like them to win because I'd prefer to do a podcast next week and have Thanksgiving week off.
Yes.
So, no pressure, Broncos, but
we could still do it either way, but
no, I know, but yeah.
But we would love to go into our Thanksgiving break celebrating a win instead of having to talk about this. But with that said, and until then, and until next time.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.